Welcome back into the Sports Source, the segment brought to you by English Mountain Spring Water. You see it on our desks. Bubbles up from a pure water source thousands of feet down right up in Dandridge, Tennessee, right at the English Mountain, right at the base of it. It's as close as you can come to what water is supposed to taste like. It's just amazing. As a matter of fact, the setting itself of the spring, it's back just a few hundred yards behind their actual bottling facility. So they bottle it right there on site, basically. But you walk back into this little area, and it's about 10 degrees cooler. And if it's 80 degrees, you walk back there, it's 70 degrees. This is just, it's nature, it's water the way it's supposed to be. Find out for yourself. Get in touch with the folks at EnglishMountainH2O.com or give them a call and see where you can test their water, because I guarantee you'll like it and they deliver it to your home or your office. English Mountain Spring Water. It's fantastic. All right. Guys, we've seen that the NBA and the NHL have had success with their bubbles. I think that's a lesson that colleges are going to learn. I think they're going to learn throughout football season. And I think there's a better chance of starting and completing some sort of basketball season than there is with football, simply because size of the teams, number of staff. I think by the time we get closer to basketball season, these leagues aren't going to be so leery of saying, well, our student athletes have to be on campus and have to be. I think you're probably going to see the colleges take their basketball teams, put them in the dormitory or in one area, bubble them off. Your classes are all online just for you guys. Cut the season down, probably start it in January, conference only, maybe a few non-conference games. There's already a group in Texas that's proposing to bring people in for a non-conference tournament where it's in a bubble type thing. You may have some of that, but I think it's going to be a shortened season. I think you're going to have college basketball this year. I think that they'll figure out from the mistakes they make in football, which are going to be natural, no way around it.
Some have already occurred.
Right, and I think that they're going to learn those lessons, and I think they're going to be so desperate to make some money. And some of these schools these non-football schools depend on that NCAA tournament. To lose that 2 years in a row would be devastating. I think you got a better chance of getting a basketball season than you do getting all the way through a 10-game football season with a playoff at the end. Am I too optimistic about basketball?
No, I agree with you. I think the numbers have a lot to do with it. I think the lessons that you can learn have a lot to do with it. I think the success that the NBA has had. Now, granted, the NBA spent $150 million establishing their budget, their bubble. You don't have to do that, obviously, in college. But I do think the things you pointed out, I'm pretty optimistic we're going to have a basketball season too. And if it has to start January 2nd or whatever, that's fine. Just give you a basketball season.
Agreed.
Yeah, totally agree. And they do have time that they can work with. Football is running out of time. Big Ten and the Pac-12 already punted. But basketball,
you still unpunt. If they decided
but basketball, they still have time to figure things out, and maybe they should have been doing that in football in April, May, and June. That's in the past, but you still have plenty of time in basketball, and basketball matters financially, not as much as football, but it matters, and there's motivation to make it happen.
Yeah, one way to look at it, I look at it too. What's your scholarship roster size? 13?
Oh yeah, compared to 85.
Okay, so if compared to the 85, plus you throw in the walk-ons in football. But look at it this way: you've already had a handful of basketball players at University of Tennessee test positive. Well, you're not supposed to have to take a test for 90 days. I mean, you might be immune. They don't know that yet.
Yeah, they don't know
it's fewer numbers, so heaven forbid you don't want to get this, but if you do and recover, there's fewer numbers, it gives you a better chance to play. I don't know about fans in the stands because you're in an indoor atmosphere. That would be what they'll have to figure out.
I didn't mention that because I don't think that's even a possibility.
Okay. Well,
and here's the thing. Just give me the basketball to watch on TV. If you put Tennessee and Alabama and then Tennessee and LSU and Tennessee and Kentucky on a TV, I'm good to go. That'll be better than anything else we've had in recent weeks and months. But I do think that the rapid testing, if this is the game changer they say, this new saliva test that's coming out of Yale that was funded by the NBA and the NBA Players Association, if that is the game changer they say, and then you combine that with a much smaller roster,
and you're moving closer to getting a vaccine, which some people might not take anyway, but I think a lot of the college kids might, just for what they're doing. And that's the ultimate game changer, a safe and effective vaccine. You're getting closer to that. And the $4 a test is huge, John, because Jimmy, what is it, Josh, that the football program can spend close to $400,000 over the course of a season on COVID tests for the players? I mean, that's a huge expense if there's not money coming in.
And the ability to, if you can test someone and get a result back in 2 hours, that's a lot different than 5 days where you're sitting there and somebody may be exposed to other people while
Exactly.
you're waiting on results. 2 hours? Hey, go sit in this closet for 2 hours, and then
The
we'll let you
saliva
out.
test could help smaller schools as well. You have more schools in college basketball than in college football, and that affects the NCAA tournament. The NCAA tournament's not just the major high majors. So you have time, and you can have less cost for those smaller schools to still be a part of the college basketball season as well.
So we're more confident for college basketball than spring football?
I'm more confident in college basketball than I am fall football. The interesting thing is, if the Big Ten and Pac-12 do start playing spring football, these TV networks are going to have a heck of a time figuring out, wait a second, we got contracts to run basketball, we got contracts to run football, although I'm sure they would kill to have a glut of programming.
Yeah, really.
All right. When we come back, I got a tough question for you. I know that Tennessee fans would, if you're given a choice, football season or basketball season, it's always football season. Can I can I change the odds a little bit by talking Final Four in a weird year? We'll see. Come on back.